I want to start today's autopsy with a piece of arithmetic. The average price of a movie ticket in the United States in the summer of 2017 was approximately $8.97. In major cities, New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, it was closer to 15. On the 15th of August 2017, a subscription company called MoviePass announced a new pricing plan. For $9.95 per month, the company said you could see one movie a day, every day, in nearly any theater in the country. Unlimited screenings, any film, new releases included. The company would pay the theater the full retail price of every ticket the subscriber redeemed. Let me say that out loud for the file. MoviePass charged a customer $9.95 per month. MoviePass paid the theater between $9 and $15 per ticket. A customer who used the service one time in a single month in many American cities already costs MoviePass more than the customer paid them. A customer who used it twice cost them double. A customer who used it daily, one of the things the marketing literally promised was possible, cost MoviePass approximately $300 per month in exchange for the same $9.95. Within 4 months of this announcement, MoviePass had over 1 million subscribers. Within 7 months, 2 million. By the middle of 2018, the company was losing approximately $40 million per month. In September of 2019, the service shut down. In January of 2020, the parent company filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy liquidation. In September of 2024, the CEO of MoviePass pleaded guilty to federal securities fraud. In January of 2025, the CEO of the parent company pleaded guilty to federal securities fraud and is facing up to 25 years in federal prison. I'm Mort. I do autopsies on dead empires. Most of the patients on this shelf died from something they did not see coming. This one died from something they put on a billboard. Let's open it up. Before we get to the catastrophe, let me give the founder his due. MoviePass was not originally a fraud. It was not originally even a particularly bad business idea. It was founded in 2011 by a longtime film industry executive named Stacy Spikes, along with a co-founder named Hammett Watt. Spikes had spent his career in the movie business. He had worked at Miramax. He had founded a film festival. He understood that the American movie theater business was, in 2011, slowly losing its audience to streaming services like Netflix, and that the box office economics needed something new. His original concept for MoviePass was simple, defensible, and slightly clever: a monthly subscription. Originally around $30 to $50 per month, that gave you a limited number of movie tickets at participating theaters. The math worked. The average subscriber would see fewer movies than the price of the subscription paid for. The remaining margin was the business. For 6 years, between 2011 and 2017, MoviePass plodded along as a small, niche subscription service. By the summer of 2017, it had approximately 20,000 subscribers. It was a real business, with sustainable economics, and almost nobody had heard of it. And then it was acquired. In August of 2017, a small publicly traded data analytics company called Helios and Matheson Analytics acquired a majority stake in MoviePass. The CEO of Helios and Matheson was a 60-something American businessman named Ted Farnsworth, who had a long career in promotional and small-cap publicly traded companies. The CEO Farnsworth installed at MoviePass was Mitch Lowe, a former Netflix executive, in fact one of Netflix's very first employees, and a former president of the Redbox DVD rental kiosk company. Lowe had real industry credentials. The two men, looking at MoviePass's 20,000 subscriber base and Helios and Matheson's declining stock price, hatched a strategy. Drop the price. Drop it hard. Drop it so hard that signing up becomes a no-brainer. Subscriber growth would explode. The exploding subscriber count, they would tell investors, was the future profit machine. The company would monetize the data, sell advertising, get cuts from theater partnerships, build a Hollywood power broker position. The losses on the tickets themselves were merely a marketing expense to acquire users for the data play that would follow. On the 15th of August, 2017, they announced the new price, $9.95 per month. Unlimited movies, one per day, every theater. The internet, as the saying goes, lost its mind. In the first 24 hours after the announcement, MoviePass added approximately 150,000 new subscribers. The MoviePass website crashed. By the end of August, the subscriber count had passed 100,000. By the end of October, 600,000. By December, 1 million. Friends were texting friends. Wait, you can really see every movie for $10? Dude, sign up right now. I just saw Dunkirk 3 times this week. The product was a viral marketing phenomenon. By February of 2018, 2 million subscribers. By the middle of 2018, 3 million, the fastest growing consumer subscription product in the United States that year. Hailed in the business press as Netflix for theaters, the disruption the box office needed, the future of movie distribution. What the business press mostly did not do in the first 9 months was the basic arithmetic. Watch. Before we walk into the part of the story where the patient runs out of cash mid-screening, I owe you a moment with the calculator. The MoviePass deal said that for $9.95 per month, you could see one movie per day, every day, in nearly any American movie theater. The average wholesale price MoviePass paid the theater for a single ticket in 2018 was approximately $11 to $12. So, pay attention. $9.95 in, $12 out the first time the customer used the product in a given month. Net result on the first movie, every month before any of the other movies, negative $2.05 per subscriber. Multiply that by 3 million subscribers. That is $6.15 million in losses every month, assuming nobody used the product more than once. The actual average usage by mid-2018 was somewhere between 1.5 and 2 movies per month per subscriber. The actual average loss per subscriber per month was somewhere between -$6 and -$15. Times 3 million. That gets you to losses on the order of $30 to $45 million per month, which, as it happens, is approximately exactly what MoviePass was losing in real time during the spring and summer of 2018. The math was not hiding anywhere. The math was, in fact, the marketing. Watch. For approximately 12 months, from the late summer of 2017 through the late summer of 2018, American moviegoers experienced what was, by every economic measure, the greatest free lunch in the modern history of consumer commerce. 3 million people, paying $10 a month, were collectively consuming somewhere in the range of $100 million per month of movie tickets at theater wholesale prices. The difference, the gap between the $10 inflow and the much larger than $10 outflow, was being covered by Helios and Matheson Analytics, which was, in turn, raising the cash by repeatedly issuing more shares of its publicly traded stock to retail investors. The stock issuance funded the ticket losses. The ticket losses generated the subscriber growth. The subscriber growth was used to justify, in investor materials, additional stock issuances. Each cycle increased the subscriber count. Each cycle diluted the existing shareholders. Each cycle bought a few more weeks of runway. The mechanism, in financial press shorthand, was a treadmill. Run faster and faster, never get anywhere, eventually fall off. Subscribers used the service in ways that, internally at MoviePass, must have been increasingly difficult to read. The average user saw approximately 1.5 to 2 movies per month, a figure that, multiplied by the 3 million subscribers and the per-ticket loss, produced the catastrophic monthly burn rate. But the heaviest users, the so-called cinephile maximizers, went to the movies 4, 5, 6 times a week. In Manhattan, where tickets were $15 to $17, a single subscriber attending 4 times a week was costing MoviePass approximately $240 a month, against the $10 inflow. There were public reports of subscribers using the same MoviePass card to buy tickets they then resold on Craigslist or to friends. There were reports of subscribers sharing accounts with family members. The fraud, by Helios and Matheson's own later argument in court, was widespread, although, as the courts would later conclude, the fraud the company itself committed against its own investors was the larger criminal matter. And here is the most poignant business beat of this entire story, the one that almost made the absurdity worth it for a brief window. In the summer of 2018, with MoviePass clearly hemorrhaging cash but still drawing 3 million subscribers, the major American theater chains made a decision that, in retrospect, was the single most important strategic move of their decade. They built their own subscription products. AMC Theaters launched, in late July 2018, a service called Stubs A-List. 3 movies per week, including premium formats like IMAX, for $19.95 per month. The math, this time, actually worked. Because AMC was the theater, they could price the subscription against their own internal cost structure, rather than against retail. Regal Cinemas launched Regal Unlimited shortly after. Cinemark launched Cinemark Movie Club. Within months, the major theater chains had viable subscription products of their own. The MoviePass model, a third party paying the theater retail, was now competing with first-party products that did not have the suicidal economics. The theater chains had, in effect, watched MoviePass prove the consumer demand for the model and then quietly stolen the customers. In my line of work, there is a useful distinction between 2 kinds of money-losing enterprises. The first kind is called a business that has not yet figured out its profitability. The second kind is called a wealth redistribution scheme. They look similar on the surface. The difference is what would happen if the enterprise stopped raising new outside money tomorrow. A business that has not yet figured out its profitability would continue, in some form, with the customers and revenue it already has, and would either pivot towards sustainability or shrink to fit its actual margins. A wealth redistribution scheme would, if the new outside money stopped, immediately collapse, because the entire mechanism by which value flows is the new outside money funding the gap between the customer payment and the supplier cost. MoviePass, between September of 2017 and September of 2019, was technically the second kind. The customer paid $10. The theater received $12. The difference was being covered by retail investors, in stock issuance after stock issuance, who had been told by Helios and Matheson's CEO that this would all work out via a sophisticated artificial intelligence data monetization strategy, a claim which, when investigated later by federal prosecutors, turned out, in the words of his own guilty plea, to be a lie. Watch. Thursday, the 26th of July, 2018. Across the United States, on the opening night of one of the biggest blockbusters of the summer, Mission Impossible Fallout, starring Tom Cruise, projected to do approximately $60 million in its opening weekend, something strange happened to MoviePass subscribers. The app, when they tried to load a ticket for the film, refused. The screens displayed an error. The kiosks at AMC, Regal, and Cinemark theaters across the country could not process MoviePass cards for Mission Impossible Fallout tickets. Smaller films, The Equalizer 2, Teen Titans Go to the Movies, still worked. The opening night blockbuster was, specifically, blocked. The internet, again, lost its mind. The actual reason, reported in real time by the tech and film press over the next 48 hours, was that MoviePass had literally run out of cash. The merchant fulfillment processors that paid the theaters needed to be paid by MoviePass before they would process more transactions. MoviePass did not have the money. On the morning of Friday, July 27th, the company secured an emergency $6.2 million loan to cover the merchant payments and restart the service. The service came back online. The company's stock, which had been propped up via 250-to-1 reverse split a few days earlier just to maintain the minimum listing price on the NASDAQ, collapsed again. 3 days later, on July 30th, the service went down a second time. From that week forward, the marketing pitch of MoviePass, unlimited movies every day, any theater, was no longer credible. The customers knew the truth. The carriers knew the truth. The investors knew the truth. The theater chains had launched competing products that worked. In August of 2018, MoviePass quietly changed its terms of service from 1 movie a day every day to 3 movies per month total, with daily and per-film restrictions. The wave of cancellations that followed was immediate and large. Subscribers who had signed up specifically for the unlimited offer felt accurately that they had been the victims of a bait-and-switch. Through the rest of 2018 and into 2019, MoviePass tried a series of additional pricing schemes. Surge pricing for popular times, blackouts on the biggest releases, a $15 a month unlimited plan with capacity restrictions. Each change provoked more cancellations. By the middle of 2019, the subscriber count had collapsed from 3 million to approximately 225,000. The parent company's stock, which had been trading in dollars at its peak, was trading in pennies. Helios and Matheson's net loss for the full year of 2018, per its filed financials, was $329.3 million on revenue of $232 million. On the 14th of September, 2019, MoviePass shut down. The service stopped working. 3 million former subscribers received no refunds for prepaid months. On the 28th of January 2020, Helios and Matheson Analytics filed Chapter 7 bankruptcy liquidation, the kind where a company is dissolved, not reorganized. MoviePhone, the iconic movie listings service which Helios and Matheson had separately acquired during the same era, was sold at auction for approximately $1 million. The corporate carcass was, in the words of one bankruptcy lawyer at the time, picked clean. And from the federal regulators, the next phase of the story began. What the federal regulators wanted to know, starting in late 2019 and through the years that followed, was a specific question. The mechanism by which MoviePass paid the difference between the customer's $10 subscription and the theater's $12 ticket cost had been new stock issuances by Helios and Matheson Analytics. Those stock issuances had been sold to retail investors. The retail investors had been told, in SEC filings and investor presentations and roadshow pitches, that the company's artificial intelligence data monetization strategy would, eventually, make the $10 subscription a profitable product. The federal regulators wanted to know if that claim had been honest. In 2022, federal prosecutors in Florida indicted Ted Farnsworth, the CEO of Helios and Matheson, and Mitch Lowe, the CEO of MoviePass, on charges of securities fraud and wire fraud. The indictment alleged that Farnsworth had, between 2017 and 2019, made materially false statements to investors about MoviePass's sustainability and about Helios and Matheson's purported artificial intelligence capabilities for monetizing subscriber data, capabilities which, according to the indictment, the company did not actually possess. Lowe was alleged to have participated in the fraudulent representations about MoviePass's viability. The total documented investor losses, according to the Department of Justice, exceeded $300 million. In September of 2024, Mitch Lowe pleaded guilty to 1 count of securities fraud conspiracy. He faces up to 5 years in federal prison, plus financial penalties. In January of 2025, Ted Farnsworth pleaded guilty to securities fraud and wire fraud. He faces up to 25 years in federal prison. As of the time of this autopsy's recording, both men are awaiting sentencing. They are the third and fourth executives this catalog has seen plead guilty to federal fraud charges, alongside Elizabeth Holmes of Theranos and Sam Bankman-Fried of FTX. The MoviePass case is by total dollar amount smaller than either of those. It is, by mechanical absurdity, the brazenness of the underlying arithmetic, perhaps the purest case on this entire shelf. The product was not complicated. The fraud was not sophisticated. The math was on the marketing materials. The CEOs told investors the math worked. The investors believed them. The math did not work. The CEOs now go to prison. So let me record the cause of death for the file. MoviePass, the subscription product, did not die because Americans stopped wanting cheap movie tickets. They did not. 3 million of them signed up in less than 12 months for what was, briefly, one of the most viral consumer subscription deals in the history of the American internet. MoviePass died because the deal it offered to the customer required, mathematically, that another party, the retail investors of Helios and Matheson Analytics, primarily, cover the difference between what the customer paid and what the theater charged. The CEOs of MoviePass and Helios and Matheson told those retail investors that this gap would, eventually, be closed by a sophisticated data monetization strategy. The strategy, as Ted Farnsworth has now pleaded guilty to having known, did not actually exist. The CEOs had told a lie. The math, in the meantime, did what math does. Cause of death, a value proposition that was, on its face, impossible. Method, an arithmetic mismatch advertised as a feature. Time of death, July 26, 2018. The night Mission Impossible Fallout opened, and MoviePass could not process the tickets. The body kept twitching for 14 more months. The brand kept selling subscriptions to former customers who never got refunds. The CEOs, by the time this autopsy is on tape, have admitted in federal court what the arithmetic always said. The math is not a feature you can market your way around. It is the floor of the building. And one warm finding for the record. Stacy Spikes, the original founder of MoviePass, the man who had built the actual sustainable version of this idea between 2011 and 2017. The man who had been pushed aside by Helios and Matheson after the acquisition. The man who had watched outsiders take his careful subscription business and run it into a federal indictment. That man, in 2022, bought MoviePass back. He bought it out of the bankruptcy estate of Helios and Matheson in an auction for what is publicly reported to have been pennies on the dollar. In August of 2022, in front of an audience at Lincoln Center in New York City, he announced the relaunch. The new MoviePass, he said, would be different. No unlimited plans, tiered pricing, sustainable margins, a cooperative model in which the math actually worked. He showed a slide. The slide showed an image of the Hindenburg disaster, with a caption underneath in dry self-aware text identifying it as what the previous management had done to his company. The audience laughed. The relaunched MoviePass still exists today. It is smaller, it is calmer. It is profitable in a way the unlimited version never was. The major theater chains, AMC, Regal, Cinemark, all of which now run their own first-party subscription products, owe their existence to the proof of consumer demand that the suicidal version of MoviePass paid $300 million to demonstrate. Some empires die. Some founders simply take their company back. That's another one for the shelf. The next time someone offers you an unlimited subscription to anything at a price that, on its face, cannot possibly cover the cost of one use of the product, ask yourself one question. Where, in the value chain, is the loss being absorbed? If the answer is, the company will figure it out later, the answer is actually new outside money. If new outside money ever stops arriving, the deal stops existing. Sometimes the new outside money is retail investors. Sometimes it is venture capitalists. Sometimes it is a parent company's other businesses. The math has to be paid by somebody. If you can't identify who, on a piece of paper, in less than 30 seconds you're looking at the dead patient on this table. If you want to watch the next autopsy, you know where the door is. I'll leave the light on.